This episode of the Flying Pigskin Show is sponsored by BRG Apartments.
Hey, welcome to the Flying Pigskin Show.
Hey, wait, you're not Ken Brew.
I'm not Ken Brew. I'm Bryce Onslinger, his stand-in. And you're Catherine Nero.
I'm still, yeah, that's still accurate. Ken usually says this is the reason the internet was invented.
Okay, so I can say that in my best Ken Brew.
Yes, go for it.
This was the reason the internet was invented.
He says this is the reason that Al Gore invented the internet.
Okay.
That's a great point. I was passed.
I'm sure Ken's watching, so you know he's got to work late tonight, so they had to call in the fill-in.
Exactly, they had to, you know,
go to
from
the
bullpen. First of all, we cannot go any further without paying homage to what could be the greatest sweater in the history of sweaters.
I have to say these are becoming very popular.
He says you can't. He says you cannot buy them.
Well,
you
can't.
Are they sold out? Is that what you're saying?
Let me just say this.
Yes.
I apologize. I'm adjusting myself. It's
We
a family show.
And I don't think my dad would be watching, but we're trying to. Not that he wouldn't want to,
Why
but
wouldn't he?
Wait a minute. Family members are our most loyal fans. What are you doing?
All three of our viewers are family members.
He doesn't know that I'm taking part in the show.
Gotcha.
If he did. But we were looking for one of these for him for Christmas.
Uh-huh.
And we couldn't find one in an XL. They're sold out everywhere. And the prices are going up and up.
I will say this. I ate lunch yesterday at the Fort Wright Skyline, and that is like prime Bengal fan territory. They dump themselves there, they eat real quick, and then they head to the game. We see it almost every Sunday that we eat there.
Did you see?
3 of them.
Really?
Two women and a man.
I got to say, I got mine before they were this cool.
Yeah,
way back in October.
Bryce claims to be a trendsetter.
And then they got hot. So
Gotcha.
I was a little ahead of the trend, I think.
As you always are.
They
Bryce.
have, you know, if you're interested, they do have 3 versions. They have this one, then they have one with 4 squares, with different things, and then they have an AJ Green version.
Do they now?
Great gift for the holidays.
Little holiday shopping for you.
Are they paying you as a spokesperson?
No, it's they should. You're right.
What I told him though, this is the second time he's worn it on air. I said now you can write it off. So it's a work expense.
It's part of your
I'll tell my wife.
wardrobe allowance.
For my birthday.
Tell her to keep the receipt.
That's all I asked for.
Don't waste your money.
But of course, aside from a fashion show, this is the Flying Pigskin Show. That really is what we're here for. And we want to remind you that you can listen, if you're not watching us online on WCPO.com, you can download the app, WCPO app, and listen to us on the app, especially if you're driving into work. That way you don't have to watch
Turn
things.
us on and then just drive into work.
Mindless.
Yeah. Well, it's not completely
I
mindless.
resemble that
You
remark.
just push play. You don't have to like turn the channel and watch and all that.
Okay.
It's much easier just to listen to.
But we have a great show lined up for you. Jim Breach will be talking to us. You know, he's played in a lot of these Bengals Steeler games.
I've heard he's the Bengals' all-time leading scorer.
He is the Bengals' all-time leading scorer. He can give us some perspective on this collapse that we saw yesterday. Didn't you feel like they were going to win?
No, and come on, I'm not the only one. Here's why. Like, so I was with a group, like my husband and my in-laws, and we're a negative lot, to be fair. But so we're sitting there. There they are up in the third, and I remember my husband saying they're gonna score 2 touchdowns right now, and lo and behold,
the Steelers.
It just. I don't know. It just felt.
It's happened so many times
before.
I think that
we're just used
that could be what it is they kick our butts on a regular basis.
Exactly.
Well, let me just say this. Usually, I think when the Bengals tank, they do it real early. You know what I mean?
The Browns,
So it was an uncharacteristically bad game.
Well, you know when it's going to happen because, let's say the other team has the ball first, like the Steelers did yesterday. The other team has the ball, whoever it is, boom, runs in, scores. This is going to be a bad game. Yesterday, the Bengals they led most of the game.
They were leading going into the fourth quarter.
They were leading in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Remember that?
Well, yeah.
Andy Dalton was not bad. I've got his numbers here.
No, he wasn't.
21 of 29, 302 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Okay, let's
That's
contrast
good, Andy.
that.
That's
yes, it is.
That's 2 passing touchdowns. Also a rushing touchdown.
And a rushing touchdown. I forgot about that. Let me write that down.
Rushing touchdown, also the longest rushing touchdown for a quarterback in the history of the Bengals.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
20 yards. You wouldn't think,
That's
but
a
I mean,
nugget.
we don't exactly have, we're not running quarterback
I don't see
territory
Boomer
here.
out there
No.
running 20
I don't
yards.
know. Yeah, I can't remember. Like, I guess Achilles Smith was a running quarterback, but he never scored. So.
Achilles Smith.
We didn't play
let's
him
bring
for
him
very
back.
long. Yeah, we don't
But
want to bring up Achilles Smith.
Maybe that was a problem because he got greedy with the running game, which led to the fumble. He wanted to keep the ball.
Yeah. It sounds like after the game, though, Jeremy Hill kind of took that one on himself. Like, initially they were kind of like, no, it hit my hip, or I thought he was going to keep it. But then after the fact, I think that he came on board and said, you know what, that's my fault. Jeremy Hill did.
Let me read you a quote from Andy Dalton on the handoff fumble miscommunication. Let's see this is what Andy had to say after the game. He says, "It's one of those things where you read somebody and either he can get it or I take it. I tried to take it, and he thought I was giving it. So that's the reason it came out."
I'm going to compare this, Bryce.
Just not right.
I don't understand any of that.
I don't know. Good.
I don't know. I'm going to compare this to trying to co-anchor with somebody. Like,
That's
there's
a really
sometimes
good straight line,
think,
isn't it?
I guess so. But I mean, like sometimes you think, okay, this guy's going to talk, like Bryce is going to talk, and then I end up talking with you. And
I'm talking. Yeah.
And so maybe that's it. Maybe that was their communication. The eye was off.
It is one of those things you wonder how it doesn't happen more because, all right, you're running this read option in the heat of an NFL game. The running back doesn't know if he's getting the ball. The only person that really knows is what the quarterback's thinking.
Right.
And so he only knows that. So he's putting the ball in the belly. And I don't know how it works exactly, like, when does the running back really grab it? When does he pull it back? I mean, there's that time in there where it's
I don't think they understand it, and I think that's where we stand right now.
It would be great if the players could all get together before the game and maybe rehearse this and go through it a few times. I think
a dress rehearsal, or perhaps
we don't rehearse this show, and it's a lot more important.
Yeah, this is like a constant read option.
Yeah. Well, all right. With all of us who have no idea how that works, and he didn't do a lot of handoffs, but he was on the field for some of these games. Let's welcome Jim Breach. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning.
All right, so
I think that'd be more of a give option versus a read option. Basically, you're reading what's in front of you, and then you make a decision, right? So that if you want to do a give option, just give it away. And
so Andy's supposed? Is he reading that, or is he just? Or is it like you said? It's just like. Does he generally make a decision up before the play starts, or is he trying to actually read this thing?
Well, obviously, if Jeremy was trying to take it, he was trying to pull it out. They were reading it, and the running back can see what's in front of him too. So they're both kind of looking at the same thing. The quarterback looking down the line, the running back seeing the hole. So, I think probably a decision had to be made a hair sooner as far as taking the ball out. But when he ran for the touchdown, if you remember, it was such a great fake. That everybody went that way, and he went untouched. So he probably left it in there a little bit longer then also, but was able to pull it out, obviously, and that was a phenomenal play. But it certainly was, that fumble was significant. It's so significant in the game. I mean, the momentum switched unbelievably at that point.
Let's talk about that touchdown for a second. I don't believe that I've ever seen a play work as perfectly as that one. Like you said, untouched, and I mean, every single player bit, every single one.
The one that got me was Troy Polamalu was flying toward the line and going to his right, and he ran at least 15 yards, and then he looks over and he realizes Dalton has the ball, and there's nothing he can do. I mean, everybody was sucked in. You're right. It was the way, and they talk about drawing it up on the chalkboard. That was it right there.
Do you think they'll keep that in the playbook? I mean, obviously it can work, and then it can be really bad. I mean, I guess they will. I mean, it looked like they were running a lot of kind of trick plays yesterday.
It was.
I mean,
yeah.
So Jim, I mean, do you think will they reevaluate that, or do you think they'll probably just keep it in there and hopefully?
I think they'll keep it. It's been effective. Actually, over the last couple of years for short runs, and obviously he's had a couple touchdowns off of it. You just don't expect him to carry the ball very much, so it's a good play. It really throws people off balance, makes them one more thing to prepare for. So they'll keep it in there. They'll discuss it, how they can fix it. Because, I mean, he had made a comment that it was going to be a big play. So there obviously was something there. He saw they just messed up the handoff, and it was kind of a snowball after that.
Snowball.
That's
a
big.
So, as we look forward, I mean, the win yesterday, obviously it would have made a big, giant difference, and the Bengals would have controlled their own destiny. Now it gets a little bit tougher. Yeah. What happens this week when Marvin gets back into practice mode? What do they have to do this week to put this behind them? I feel like we talk about this all the time, putting something behind them. But what do they have to do now to move forward and secure that playoff berth?
it's such a cliche, but you have to take it week by week. I mean, they'll go in and look at it, but then they really have to put this one behind them. I mean, it's just, you have to. You can't dwell on it because, I mean, these next 3 games are huge. I mean, this game this week, you know, I was trying to watch some of the Indianapolis game also, and I'll tell you what, Cleveland plays some defense. And we know what happened on that Thursday night debacle, so they can't worry about Pittsburgh. They can learn from it. And I can tell you there's nobody on Pittsburgh's defense that plays defense like Ike Taylor. So I was really upset when Ike Taylor got hurt. It looked like he was going out of the game. So I thought he was the biggest advantage the Bengals had yesterday.
Yeah, you could see that. A.J. lit him up. I mean, but we were talking about you know, they play the Browns next week. We know what happened here. Cleveland, though, going through a little bit of a quarterback issue. Hoyer, Johnny Football. I mean, what if they do start Johnny Football? Is that good for the Bengals?
Jim, what do you think?
Will they make a switch? Do you think they'll make the switch from Hoyer to Manziel?
I would not be surprised at all. After yesterday, and you know, they really had that game under control all the way through, and Hoyer just couldn't come up with any plays. I wouldn't be surprised. And it really does make it more difficult because of the running factor that he adds. And you have to decide how you want to do you blitz him? Do you try and get in his face and make him throw quickly? Do you go back and play coverage? I mean, there's some decisions the Bengals have to make. They have to also prepare, you know, unless they make the announcement like by Wednesday, you know, the first 2 days. I mean, they're preparing like tonight and tomorrow is when they're putting the game plan in. If they don't make the announcement till Wednesday, you know, they've made a preparation with Hoyer. They have to make a preparation with the possibility of a change. So there's going to be added time no matter what happens.
And they don't have to make that. They don't have to make that announcement probably. I mean, till game time, really, wouldn't they? Would they probably?
They wouldn't. Right. I mean,
keep
that's why coaches hold off on some things like that, especially when you have 2 quarterbacks who are so dramatically different with the running aspect that Manziel brings. So their preparation is going to be added just because there's a possibility.
That leads into our poll question for this week.
Ooh.
Yes, it's yes. Which quarterback would you prefer the Bengals face next Sunday? Brian Hoyer, Johnny Manziel. Either way, Browns are going down. That was
one of my favorites.
Yeah, doesn't matter. We'll find a way to lose.
Jim, what about you? What do you think? Who would you rather the Bengals play?
I would prefer it be Hoyer because he played really poor. He got 1 touchdown pass and 7 interceptions his last 4 or 5 games. You know, I'd rather be him. Even in that game that the Bengals couldn't beat him on that Thursday night game, Hoyer didn't play. He played okay. You know, there wasn't anything the defense played okay that day for the Bengals. So the way it's been going, I'd prefer it be him. Isn't it interesting with Josh Gordon coming back? He's actually struggled more. You wonder if there's some of it's trying to work the ball to Gordon, whereas before he was just spreading the ball around. I don't know. It's hard to say. With Manziel, you just don't know what you get. I mean, he probably doesn't know what he gets because he probably has no clue at times. So he'll just start running around.
Yeah, you know, you make a good point with Gordon coming back. They had Andrew Hawkins they were throwing to, and now Browns are kind of a mess a little bit. So that's a positive.
I think that maybe the oddest part to me in this whole Hoyer Manziel thing. I mean, Manziel did not play at all yesterday. Then then he plays the week before. I just don't know what the. I mean, are they hanging him out there?
Well,
like
they say
Hoyer
he doesn't know the playbook.
That
well.
I believe. I don't think that this is the sharpest tool in the shed.
And
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, I think it was his birthday Saturday, so they wanted to stay away. I'm serious. It was
Are
his
you
birthday
serious?
Saturday.
Then I would not have played him either. So
yeah,
I take it back. Take it back.
That's why. But so the Bengals-Browns, obviously a big game, and then Broncos at home at the Steelers.
They still control their own destiny. You say they don't do that anymore.
Well,
if they win out,
they win
the division. No, they don't. Well, they do. But,
okay. They do.
Well, okay, right. So it might come down to the last game, but controlling your own destiny is that if you win all your games, you get what you want. And if they win all the games, they win the division.
Does anybody think they're going to beat the Broncos here?
Pittsburgh and Cincinnati both do.
Correct. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
But they do. The Bengals still, you know.
That's true.
The Pittsburgh controlled it before yesterday also. If you know, both teams need to win those games. But if the Bengals win the rest of their games, they win the division.
That would require them, again, beating the Broncos and beating the Steelers.
With the lights on.
At Pittsburgh. The lights come on, the players are down.
Can they play the night game without the lights on?
I'm more worried about the lights than I am the Broncos.
Isn't this week a 4:00 game in Cleveland coming up?
Wait a minute. Let me check. I just looked at that whole place.
It's going to get dark early.
Yeah,
that means lights come on. Oh, no.
In the first half?
What if they flex it?
It's a 1 o'clock game.
Oh,
okay. It is 1. Okay, I'm sorry.
Hey, Jim, are you concerned about them stopping the run at all? I mean, what's his... Bell had 200 yards.
Then for 3 weeks against teams who ran the ball really well, they did a great job. And actually, in the first half yesterday, Bell had one 20, 25-yard run. And apart from that, they held him to about 40-something yards. Really, that fourth quarter, they started running that power when they were pulling the whole right side. Obviously, they found something on the left-hand side that was being effective because they just pounded the ball. And when the Bengals, in that stretch where they fumble the ball, and they get the ball back when Dalton gets drilled in the stomach and hits a perfect throw to Sanu, who drops it. The second week in a row, drops the ball right in his hands. That's a first down. Campbell comes in, they have a hold, and then they throw the long pass for the touchdown. The whole sequence, the Bengals just didn't have the ball for many plays, and they just can't afford. The way you keep running games in check or passing games in check is you keep the ball, and you keep the clock, and they didn't do that. I mean, they scored on an 81-yard, 2-play drive. They had a short drive on Gresham's touchdown, so they had really very few plays to score their scores yesterday, and it just wasn't taking up much time.
So what happens next? This is what I mean. I'm looking at this schedule, and you're right. It's the 1 o'clock game against the Browns, then Broncos, and Steelers. This is not the way. You've looked at this schedule, since the beginning of the season, and thought, okay, here we go. And it seems like it always comes down to this. What do you think, Jim? What are the chances of winning out against these three?
Well, it's this to me is. I was watching the New England-San Diego game, hoping like heck that San Diego lost, because they were 8-4. Now they're 8-5. So Pittsburgh and San Diego are 8-5. I'm thinking, Bengals, can they get in 9-6-1?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's what I'm thinking. However, I think there's opportunity in every game. I mean, Denver is running the ball more, but they're not playing great right now.
Yeah, Peyton didn't even have a TD pass.
Game. You have to play the games because look what Carolina did to
the Saints. I think they played the Saints
yesterday.
You never know.
You don't know who's going to show up from week to week,
true.
and if Denver doesn't bring their A game, which is hard with you never know. And this week against Cleveland, so this is the critical game in the final three. You got to win this first one. Because I think you still have an opportunity in the last one, and somehow you figure out how to beat Denver.
When they left after the day after the Cleveland debacle, nobody thought they were going to win those 3 road games in a row. I mean, this team always does. I think they traditionally, the last few years, when they've been going to the playoffs, they set you up. There are points when you think they're good, and then you start to get comfortable, and you think, oh, well, they're going to handle this team, and then they lose. And going after that Cleveland game, nobody thought we could win 3 straight road games in a row. That would have been unthinkable the morning after the Cleveland game. But then they win those 3 road.
It's a plot twist.
Well, then they win those 3 road games. You think, hey, we could beat the Steelers, and then boom, they go back to.
They could have. That's the thing. This was not demoralizing. This was not.
No, they were right there. They had them.
This is
no,
this close.
But they just keep showing you that they can just tease you into thinking that they're going to be really good, and then don't forget.
Don't forget they're the Bengals.
The good news,
how do you have your best loss be 21 points? They've had 2. Those are the 2 best losses of 21 points. 26, 27. That's unfathomable for a team that is 8-4-1.
Well, the best news is the Bengals have the tiebreaker on the Ravens, because I'm looking at the Ravens schedule. They play the Jags, at the Texans, and then the Browns at home. So they've got.
Yeah, there will be no tiebreaker unless they tie, right?
Right.
There's no tiebreaker unless somebody else gets a tie ball.
But I'm saying they could win out and go 11-5, and there won't be a tiebreaker though. So good thing they tied.
Nonetheless,
they've already done the tiebreaker. It's called the tie is the tiebreaker.
Jim, thank you so much for joining us this and every week here on the Flying Pigskin. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and enjoy trying to figure out this team.
Well, next week I hope we're talking to you about a win.
That's why we've got you here, Jim. Okay, so you got to work on that for next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm working on it, guys. I'll check with Marvin today and see.
All right, cool.
Get the inside scoop.
See you next week. Who day, Jim? See you. All right.
Who's this guy?
Yeah. Now this is the best part of the show. If you haven't watched it enough, Bryce. Okay.
Okay, this is the real McCoy. Let me set this up for you, Bryce. The real
Mike,
McCoy here.
Finish this sentence.
Yes.
Andy Dalton
sucks.
Now, come on. Now, you can't blame him on yesterday.
Yeah.
You
gonna
cannot
blame Andy on
yesterday
this?
on him.
You gotta be kidding
Mike
me.
McCoy's been saying all
Always.
season he
Always.
wants to see Andy Dalton with 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns.
That's true.
Here,
You got it.
Read, that's a
touchdowns,
stat
a rushing
line there.
touchdown, 300
What
yards
is it?
passing.
Okay, here we go again. Here we go again. He had 302 yards.
Yeah.
Don't discount those two are big ones.
But he made a crucial mistake by fumbling that ball. Wait a minute. Let's back up a second here. First of all, you talking about they won 3 straight games. They really should have lost to Tampa Bay last week. That was a gift right
Should
there.
have lost.
They will not make the playoffs. And the reason they won't make the playoffs, they control their own destiny, and they let it get away from them.
But as Matt pointed out, Mike,
They still do.
They still do.
Right, but they will not go up in Cleveland and
I'm
beat
discounting the facts.
the
I'm going
Browns.
to continue.
It will not happen. The Bengals are taking you guys on this roller coaster ride again.
That's what they do.
Let's stop all this
Reveal.
about the Bengals and let's face reality.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Dalton sucks. If you take A.J. Green off of that team, they're nothing. They're absolutely nothing.
Now, come on.
I do
Now,
think
I'm gonna
he's
tell you something.
extremely lucky he got drafted at the same time as
I'm
A.J.
going to tell
Green.
you right now, Dalton will not be
was
himself
very
up in
fortunate.
Cleveland. He's hurt.
He says he's okay.
He
No,
says he's
he's
fine.
not okay. I'm telling you, he's not okay. Pac-Man Jones, Adam Jones, is not okay. These guys are just trying to go through the motions right now. They're going to get clobbered these last 3 games, and all these Bengal fans out here talking about they was
Now,
going to make the playoffs, 12 and this and that. And I even went back to Brian over there. He wanted me to give him 10 games. When I was up on him, he gave me 12. Now he's going to wind up
They're
paying
not
me.
going to get 12.
Stratman, you might as well give me my money. Brew didn't show up today because he owes me money.
That's
so
accurate, he
I'm
does.
telling you, everything I pretty much predicted, has it been coming true?
Not exactly.
Has it been, well, give me a percentage.
I'll make it up. I'd say
Don't
40%.
make it up.
I don't know.
40%.
Okay, but I need to ask about the ensemble here. Have you gone to the dark side?
Yes, I have.
You're a Steeler fan now.
No, I'm not. I'm a fair weather fan. I call it
At
the
least
way
you
I
admit
see
it.
it. Yes. It's just like this. Okay, Cleveland lost a heartbreaker yesterday, which they should have won. And Cleveland came in here in Cincinnati and torched the Bengals. They're going to go up there, and Cleveland's going to torch them up there because Cleveland really is not out of the hunt of this thing if they can win out.
Here's the thing with Cleveland. Who's their running back?
It doesn't matter.
I don't know. Who's their quarterback?
I don't know.
It doesn't
I don't know.
matter. Who is their defense? Who is their defense? They came in here and shut the Bengals down,
That's
didn't
true. But the Bengal defense could easily compete, especially if you've got a quarterback you don't even know who it is right now.
they? Okay, were they competing yesterday in the fourth quarter?
Not in the fourth
Well, for
quarter.
the first
they were
2
not.
minutes, they were winning.
Not.
Well,
They were
that
not.
doesn't matter. If you watch a football game, a game is one win. And what quarter is a game won if it's close? Third quarter. Third quarter always
I
tell
would
the
not have picked
outcome.
third.
I thought he was
There
going
you
to
go.
say
See?
4.
No,
I
it's
would
no.
not
It's
have
the,
loop
picked
there,
you
didn't
watch the way a
Okay.
team plays in
I'm
the third
learning.
quarter,
He showed
and
her.
you will
He showed
find
you the
out
left, and then
how
he
they're
came
going to
with the
finish
right,
up.
you know, you
Now,
didn't
yesterday,
see that.
third quarter was almost evenly, okay? But then it got away from the Bengals. Andy Dalton fumbles the ball. Pittsburgh gets on it.
Now,
then
listen,
they start rolling.
You cannot take the one fumble.
I do.
And
that
the
changed-
one
I do.
fumble-
That was classic Andy Dalton. That was classic
What
Andy
about-
Dalton. It just started the ball rolling, and then
It's
it was like,
momentum.
here it comes.
Yes.
Oh,
No.
man.
See, I think
that
this
was when
is the
they.
deal. The Bengals, once the wheels come off, it's like, yeah, forget it, we're done. Like that's what happened with Cleveland. That's what happened in the fourth quarter. They cannot rebound. I don't know if that's mental. I don't know what that is. They can't rebound.
Let's not
They
forget,
don't have any composure. They're not
there were
that
2
good.
mistakes. Remember the fake punt? The fumble on the
Yeah.
fake punt? That would have been a first down.
The fake punt wasn't that bad of an idea.
Well, no, it was a good idea, and it would have worked.
But there was a fumble.
That field position, I don't know. I don't think he had it until he fumbled. They stopped him, I think.
I don't know. If he held onto the ball, he's going to get it.
If, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Bengals couldn't stop the run. If you can ring my bell. Bell was running all over. Ben was the typical Ben. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hold on. Let's talk about Ben.
Ben's
I looked these up.
Ben's
he was
a little
14 for 23 for 143 yards. That's not anything to write home about.
He still looks better out
there.
He did.
But
He did look better. But
what was
the
the touchdown bomb? 94-yard touchdown bomb he threw yesterday.
Yeah,
First time, in his career to throw a bomb like that? The Bengals setting up for a run. Okay, we're going to fool these chumps. They're not drawing it up in the sand like the Bengals do. The Bengals drawing plays up, running trick plays. That crap is not going to work no more. Ball game is over. They're done. Stick a fork in them.
On the Dalton rushing touchdown.
You know why? Because Palomalu was trying to follow the running back, and Dalton say, "Oh, okay, college days, I can make these 20 yards," and he took off.
Isn't that the whole point?
He made it.
Yes, it is. Okay, but isn't the whole point this too? You don't fumble the football and let the other team get the momentum.
Well, of course it is.
Okay, then. So what I'm saying, the boys suck.
You got to take one with the other.
No, it don't have. With the Bengals, you do, because you're going to do this, and this. They're never like this. They're never like this. Like I said, those 3 games in a row, that third game, Tampa had them. If they played the way they did against Tampa, I knew they were going to lose against Pittsburgh.
None of those teams have winning records.
No.
No, and the deal is,
I came in here glass half full. Now I'm all glass half empty.
What you need to be saying, because you rooting for a team that is no good. That's the problem right there.
They're not no good.
They're not good. They're not good. They are a C team, a C average team.
You know what my wife told me yesterday after the game? She said, Bryce, maybe you shouldn't get so excited about these games.
Did she say it in that? Is she the calming force in your house?
She's calm. She says it's okay.
Were you excited yesterday?
Yelling? Yeah.
Hey, Stratman.
Were you yelling?
Don't get quiet back there. What did your wife have to do to you? Make you go in the basement, didn't she?
I was at the game.
He goes to the
game. No, I'm talking about last week.
Last week my kids learned some words, I think.
And his wife sent him to the basement.
Well, that's where men should watch football.
She probably
and
does
women
that
for that
even
matter
when there's
too.
not a football
But see, that's
game.
what the Bengals will do to you, man. You got to get off that bandwagon. They're going to get swept these last 3 games. You watch and see.
Mike McCoy, Cincinnati is white knuckling to that bandwagon. We're not letting go.
Yeah.
We're not letting go.
Well, hold on to it.
Brian wants to go double or nothing now. He says he'll take that bet. Brian.
Double or nothing? What's the bet?
They can't win.
My bet yet.
Well, didn't you say they'd win 12 games?
Well,
That's mathematically.
I let him slide out of this. See, he thinks he's slick.
Double the bet. I said I'll double the bet if you give me 2 games. So the bet is now double the original bet.
Okay,
all
right.
Yeah, but he gets 10 games, and he's not going to get 10 games. He's not going to get it. Them boys going to fold. They already done folded camp, so it doesn't matter. You know. Tell the truth, Strawman. Who you believe? Who you believe? Tell him who you believe. The real McCoy. Tell him about it.
Mike's never been a bold statement kind of person.
No, you know what? Honestly, I thought the turning point of the game is the third quarter. Green scores a big touchdown. They go ahead, right? Fourth quarter starts. The first play. Bell takes it like 80 yards. And it's kind of like, here's your response. And it just seemed like the Bengals kind of lost their gusto after that.
I think the defense lost the gusto.
Yeah, the defense
was on the field for so long.
The defense sucked, I thought.
And the offense gets on the field, and we get a couple really long plays. We get that bomb pass to AJ Green, and that's great. We put points on the board, but here comes the defense out back again, real quick.
And what worries me is Cleveland does have a good running back. He's a rookie, and he
can do. Le'Veon Bell's any good?
No, Bryce was wondering who their running back was.
Well, yeah,
he is he's just as good probably as, well, not yet, but he's a rookie.
But you guys got to remember too, your offense has got to stay on the field for some time. And these bomb passes, these long plays and all that, don't eat up the clock. You have to eat up. It's clock management. It's situation score management and goals.
Well, if Ike Taylor wasn't so terrible, they would have stayed on the field longer.
Possibly. That's possibly. In
so
the
it's
same
his
way,
fault. It's Ike Taylor's fault.
But you can understand, too, how Pittsburgh was running the ball and it was eating up some of that clock, too.
I will agree that, I don't know, Giovanni Bernard has not looked the same since he came back from that injury. Yeah. We saw a lot of him in the second half. We didn't see as much of Jeremy Hill. who Jeremy Hill has been.
I think they're still trying to figure this relationship out. Like, I don't know where we are with who's the running back.
Hill has taken over as kind of the starter, the better running back. I like Gio. I love Gio, but he's just not. He's not making things move. It could be.
It's not the run game. It really is. It's a combination of things.
Who's
but
this guy?
but
Good morning,
who is
PJ.
this guy?
PJ
Who is this
O'Keefe.
guy? I've been
Perhaps you've
sleeping.
heard of
I've
him.
actually been sleeping the first half of the show because you guys were talking about Andy Dalton, and it's sorry, Mike, but it's not Andy. It's just not. Andy did fine yesterday. In fact,
he what?
Highest quarterback rating in a loss this season.
Okay, he did fine.
Give him all the credit.
What game was you watching, dude?
By anybody in the league, highest quarterback rating in a loss. So I more power to Andy. I thought he played excellent yesterday. Now it helps that AJ Green's back to 1,000%. But Andy did well. And read option stuff, none of that matters. This entire conversation should be about the defense. It's been this dark horse all year where we've said, oh, yeah, we have the talent. And, it's just been a few injuries. Well, everybody, with the exception of Vontaze, is at least some form of moderately healthy. A couple linebackers have sat out. The D-backs have rotated in and out. But this team should be at a point in this season. Everybody's got bumps and bruises. Everybody's banged up at this point in the season. But you're talking about now the Cincinnati Bengals, the 26th worst rushing defense and the 21st worst passing defense. That is not a team that's going to win you a playoff game. It'll be a miracle if they even get to the playoffs.
You have to run the ball and stop the run. That's about bottom line,
I have a nugget for you. Yesterday, the Bengals gave up 543 yards.
Okay.
The most since they gave up 554 yards in 2007 to the Browns.
That's a lot of yards.
543. So, by the numbers, PJ has a point.
Okay, PJ.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Okay, big
I think
shot.
they own the Bengals. What is the winning percentage that Pittsburgh has against the Bengals? Is it some kind of crazy statistic?
Are we talking the last 10, 12 years?
They're like 10-2 at
last 10, 12 years.
They're 2-11. The Bengals are 2-11 against the Steelers in Paul Brown under Marvin Lewis.
Well, and I think
How about
Marvin
that?
came right when I think Marvin came right when they opened it. But
and keep in mind, the Steelers have been a Super Bowl caliber team for a lot of those years. I mean, these are the Roethlisberger teams that beat the Cardinals, and I mean, those teams were legit, and those were the really tough-nosed defense teams too. We were talking about clock mismanagement and how we know that Mr. Marvin is typically. First of all, I'm never going to say no to an 81-yard touchdown pass. And I respect that puts your defense right back on the field, but no one should ever be upset about that.
Right.
Especially leading into the fourth quarter, that's a momentum shift. And by the way, they had 5 minutes defense catch your breath right there in between quarters. So let's not point to that.
There's a commercial about every 2 minutes.
Yeah, well that's helpful too. Thank you, CBS. So time of possession. You were talking about time of possession. Really not that much different. Pittsburgh only had about 5 minutes more possession, which is interesting. I guess if you kind of, it's not
considering the score.
Sometimes it's not that much.
Yeah.
So that's just an interesting thing to think about. I'm not upset. I don't think anybody should be upset about the 80-yard pass. Sorry about that one, McCoy. I'm going to shut you down.
That's fine, but they still took a good butt whooping. That's all that matters. And as long as that green keeps coming in my pocket, it doesn't matter. Because I tell you right now, Andy Dalton sucks, and the Bengals are garbage.
Tanya, what do you think about that?
Tanya's here.
Tanya's in there. You cut the last Mike McCoy rant there. How is it in the newsroom? What does the social media world say about yesterday's game?
Well, you know what, Matt? Let me first say how much I enjoy seeing Mike McCoy rant and rave on a day after an awful loss by the Bengals to the Steelers. However, lots of people feeling a lot like Mike McCoy. Let me tell you, okay, this guy at Words Poet, gotta love the name, he says, how many big games do the Bengals need to lose before Mike Brown fires Marvin Lewis? Have we even discussed that yet? Is there
it's really a big game.
Come on. Marvin, no. I like the fact that Marvin has been a stability factor.
I agree.
So the calls to fire Marvin Lewis, I thought the game plan, well, it was pretty good for the first.
Well, and the logic
fourth quarter
until the fourth, but that's not necessarily Marvin Lewis's fault.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
Yeah.
To Mike Brown, let's be fair, he's not going to fire Marvin Lewis after this game. Like, of all the stuff that we've been through as Bengals, this is not even close to rock bottom.
Yeah, so. No. I actually, you know what? I don't think that's an issue at all. I think Marvin Lewis is here for as long as Marvin Lewis wants to be here, at least at this moment. All right, so a couple others. There are some people who are positive. I want you to know this.
Really? See, I want to hear from these people. Tanya, tell me more.
At Houday Mania says, keep the faith. Hashtag Houday Nation.
I agree. I agree with Houday.
The Marvin Lewis question is, last week we were talking about when he threw the challenge flag at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And so we had a poll question related to Marvin and his prowess at game management. And the Houday Nation seems to, the options were,
doesn't matter.
He has no idea what he's doing. 35% of the people said that.
That is not true. Look, I mean,
that's
we can
what
all
I
say
think.
that
He never knows.
You cannot, this is hyperbole. Y'all, it's hyperbole.
Okay, but he doesn't know what he's doing. He's a quiet genius, 16%. He saved the day Sunday, so that's something, 25%. 25% gave him a begrudging attaboy, and over half think that he generally doesn't know what's going on.
I can't believe that.
Well, do you think?
That's what I think. I go to almost every home game, and that's what I think.
You think he doesn't know what he's doing?
Never.
Really?
No.
I really like Marvin Lewis, but when he threw that flag, my first thought was, what are you doing?
I still don't think he knew. If he really knew what was going on, he would have called timeout. All he's got to do is call timeout. All he's got to do is call timeout. If he understood the real situation, he called timeout.
But it's more dramatic.
It's more dramatic, and you're.
Oh, so he was just going for dramatic effect.
Like you're not going. What are the chances they'd see the timeout?
Plus, you make it known you don't agree with the call, which if you call a timeout,
Correct.
you can go tell
them. You have
to
explain it.
But you want everybody to know. You want the TV crew to know. He threw the red flag.
What's happening?
Well, I don't think he has that much.
And then it drags it out. Because if you call a timeout, they go to commercial, they start the timeout. Well, you throw the flag, everybody's like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah.
I'm not going to call him a quiet genius.
Right. You want some more social media?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so how about this one? Sarfati C, I love these, says, on a positive note, A.J. Green was lighting up that Pittsburgh secondary, and that's something to build on, right?
That's a big advantage the Bengals have.
There were
three
quarters to build on yesterday, just not 4. You know, I mean, there was a lot to build on, but they showed us that they can beat most teams, and they, probably should beat them at home, but they somehow find a way to mess it up.
What you like about what happened yesterday, AJ, I mean, early in the game, it wasn't bombs. They were just, all right, you're going to play 10 yards off AJ, drop back, toss. He's catching all these quick passes. And then
a
sets
couple
him
of big
up
ones
for the long play. We've seen that in games, where AJ's just not involved. I mean, the playoff game in Houston.
No, I will say that is where you do kind of start questioning what's happening with the game plan.
But yesterday, can't question that. AJ was involved.
All right, so I think this one kind of sums up like a lot. This is, where did I lost it? The fantasy cam. I can't read the hashtag at sign, but wow. Why am I not surprised? It is hard to be a Bengals fan.
Well, we can't dispute that.
That tweet could have come from, if it existed, 1992, 1998. You know what I mean? Like, we could have taken this all the way back. It is hard to be a Bengals fan, and that's the whole point.
It's never been too easy.
We earn it.
Yeah.
You know what? When they win the Super Bowl someday, when I'm old and gray, it's gonna feel so good, isn't it? It's gonna be like
say we were with them way back when.
We're gonna be like the Boston people after 100 years or
That's
so.
Right.
80.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Tanya, thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Hey, Bryce, there's some new developments here on the Flying Pigskin. I don't know if you're aware, but we have gotten to the point. Pardon me, I'm all choked up about it. We are having to fend off the advertisers with sticks.
Yeah, I know. We've decided that we will take one. We don't want to.
Just the one.
We do not want to dilute this program with sponsors and commercials and such. So we've decided to take the best of the best, one sponsor, and that means we're going to be right back after this commercial break.
BRG Apartments is offering fantastic savings for every new move-in to one of BRG's 34 communities. Find your home before the holidays, and BRG will donate $50 to the Free Store Food Bank. Visit us at brgapartments.com.
And we're back.
Hey. So you're sporting your Bengal paraphernalia.
Yeah, I found my orange socks and got my sweater. You've got a pinkish necklace.
Let's go with that orange.
It does look orange on camera.
Okay,
this is the one part of the whole season that I have been dreading the most.
I can understand why.
Yes,
there's a lot of Steeler fans. Like,
yes,
I was actually talking some trash on the morning news yesterday.
That's your first problem right there.
Yeah, that's probably what set the Bengals up for an issue. And
sorry.
Now I did get a response email from one fan, but there's a lot of fans out there of the Steelers. I don't know why.
Yeah, and there's one that all of us know, and I've spent time watching football on Sunday with her many times, and she's particularly annoying the day after the Bengals play the Steelers at Paul Brown Stadium most of the time. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning.
Oh, it's already
annoying.
Not. Liz, if you weren't so nice, we'd really hate you.
I totally understand. I feel the same way.
So Liz is not only a huge Steeler fan, but a very vocal one, which is the worst kind of Steeler fan.
What kind of jersey do you have on there?
Is that Troy?
I have a Troy Polamalu jersey on.
Oh, is that a throwback?
If they won, I will continue to wear it until they lose.
Well, that'll be
okay.
Soon. Let's hope. So, what your thoughts on the game, Liz?
It was great.
I mean, the first half was super ugly, I think, for us. And then that fumble in the fourth quarter, I'll take that all day. And Le'Veon Bell having 200-plus yards from scrimmage, that's great. He's in the same class as Walter Payton now. They're the only running backs who've done that 3 games in a row.
Wait, what?
Hold up.
3 games?
Woo.
I got the stats.
Wait a second.
There are 2 running backs in the NFL to have 200 yards from scrimmage 3 games in a row. Walter Payton, Le'Veon Bell.
That's all well and good. That's all well and good. But comparing those two,
I think the earthquake you're having there is messing with your brain.
You know, Jeremy Hill and Walter Payton are in the same boat too. They both have 6 letters in their first name.
What you can't see at home is.
I mean, the comparison is a little silly at this point.
What you can't see.
No, it's not. She's legit.
What you can't see at home is PJ ran those numbers that you said, comparing to Walter Payton, and while confirming those numbers are correct, he was also giving an epic face palm in front of his computer. It was. I glanced over at him. Yeah. It was appropriate, very appropriate.
So Liz, all right. So now that the Bengals have basically gifted the Steelers another shot at this playoff thing.
Merry Christmas.
Your thoughts, if any?
That game from you, we took it. There was no gift. We took it.
Well, you took the ball that Andy Dalton dropped on the ground.
Well, yeah. So,
well, yeah, and then you took the ball, yeah.
And then Sanu had a couple of drops, too.
Yeah, these are all problems for the Bengals, not positives for the Steelers.
Teams take advantage of issues that bad teams have.
I would not call the Bengals a bad team, though. That's a little one-sided.
Here's the thing about the Steelers, Liz. Ben Roethlisberger is no good anymore. I'll give you Le'Veon Bell is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
And he's
Ben
a game changer. Without Le'Veon Bell, we would not be 8-5.
What do you think about Ike Taylor?
He's a stud.
Yeah.
Oh, Ike Taylor.
I would trade Ben Roethlisberger for Andy Dalton in a heartbeat.
Really, though,
in a heartbeat. Right now, whatever Ben Roethlisberger has left, I would take that.
Huh.
In a heartbeat.
Doesn't have a lot left.
It's too bad, Jay.
He's still out there. We were talking about it yesterday. We were talking about it yesterday. When he's in the backfield, it looks like he's deciding whether he's going to change the channel or not. That's how relaxed he is. He's just standing. I don't know if it's because he's so big, because he is almost as big as most linemen. But he just is like looking around. What's over here? What's over there? And he takes a step to the left, and the guy falls by his ankles. And as he's falling, he throws a complete pass. Andy Dalton goes back, looks 2 ways, and then he starts to skits out.
That's true. There's something to that. There's something to that.
You're never going to get anywhere with the guy who skits it out.
I was talking to my buddy yesterday. And we both agree that Ben Roethlisberger is the type of quarterback that's going to play past his prime and just play out until his arm falls off. And I can't wait to watch those years of Ben Roethlisberger being below average.
It's going to be so.
I don't think he doesn't have to throw for a lot of yards. When they won their first Super Bowl, he
threw for 143 yesterday.
I know, and when they won their first Super Bowl, he would go through the whole season and not throw 20 passes. But they still won the Super Bowl.
And the difference now is that Haley wants to keep him in the pocket more, and so he's throwing more now than he ever has before.
That's why they don't
However,
like each other.
When he gets to the point where maybe he shouldn't be doing that anymore, I'm sure that whoever the offense coordinator is going to be at the time will hopefully be smart enough to come up with a different offensive scheme.
Yeah, that's not Steelers football.
No.
Passing it.
No, passing, no, it never has been. Not since 1933.
And Liz, when
so
we were...
as long as they've got a great running back, it doesn't matter what Ben's arm is like.
When we were getting ready for this show, Liz, we weren't sure that the Skype would work because we hadn't talked to you before. So Bill Bullock went on Facebook and got some pictures off of your Facebook site. We're pirating things. Yeah, you remember, nothing is really... No, but it's a picture of you and Dermontti Dawson. Tell us about that. Where did this happen?
Okay, so Dermontti Dawson lives in Lexington. Well, he used to.
Because he's a UK graduate.
Lexington, Kentucky.
In the Ring of Fame.
I went to high school in Lexington, Kentucky. And my parents still live there. And every year when Dermontti still lived there, that's right, we're on a first name basis, he used to throw a Super Bowl party, like, for charity. And so he would auction off all kinds of stuff, and he was always there. And so we decided to buy some seats one year and go. And that was the year, I think that was Super Bowl 40 when the Steelers won. That was the best night of my life, other than getting married.
I was going to say.
Good call. There you go.
Hey, Liz, how do you and your husband handle watching these games together? Because he's a Bengals fan, so.
Yeah, he's a lifelong Bengals fan. He used to be a season ticket holder up until a couple years ago. He couldn't take it anymore. We ignore each other. We pretend that we're not there. Like, literally, we're sitting on the same couch watching the game, and we're both screaming different words to the TV, but we totally ignore what the other person's saying. We have a rule, and, I mean, we've been together for 8 years, so we had to establish this very quickly in a relationship. We're not allowed to smack talk each other's teams during the season.
Oh, ground rules.
So after the season, it's all fair game.
It is. It's all fair game, but not during the season, especially not on Sundays when they play each other. So, and then after the game was over yesterday, I kind of had to walk on eggshells around him and, like, try and be really nice to him for the rest of the night. Yeah, we just don't talk to each other.
Sweet.
That's kind of
That's surprising from you, actually. That's totally surprising.
Yeah, you're never nice to me and Strad after the Bengals lose.
She doesn't care about you two. Exactly.
No.
Well, Liz, thank you so much for joining us, I think.
Will you join us, if we're still doing this after the season, will you join us again after the next game, Elizabeth?
After the loss?
That's right. When we clinch the AFC North the next day, will you come, and then you guys will be coming here on the road to play us in the playoffs, and you'll destroy us in the playoffs. Probably.
Exactly right.
That would be classic Bengals.
As we beat you in the playoffs, I don't care.
I know. Well, that's how they did it when you won the Super Bowl. We won the division. Yeah, I know.
Division. We got in the last wild card spot. I'll take that every year.
Okay, Liz, we said thanks.
Yeah. Bye now.
Okay.
Bye now.
All right.
Thank you, Liz. All right. Thank you.
Good morning, Liz. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, Liz. Bye, Liz.
She's not the only one. She's like the opposite of what most Bengal people in this city would think of this lovely Steeler team. It's the most hated one, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is the most hated one.
And
it's because all these Steeler fans.
It's because they win all the time and they've won the Super Bowls. But it used to be the Browns. If you were here, Catherine, for people old as
But didn't our poll question a couple weeks ago ask the same?
Currently, I think it's the Steelers, and the Carson Palmer thing just cemented that.
Right.
Yeah. That ever since then, because that was when the Bengals finally had sort of gotten back into being a good, halfway decent team,
and
playoff caliber team.
Relevant since 1972.
Timo von Oelhoffen.
Oh,
there you go.
Timo,
who eventually became a Bengal. That's right.
Yeah,
yes,
that's true.
All right. Well, now we're going to visit with Mr. Satin, our weekly guest.
See, that was my attempt at a segue. See, I was setting Bryce up. I was teeing him up.
But here comes his visit with the tailgaters and their opinions of Pittsburgh Steeler fans.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, what's up? This is Mr. Satin down here for the Flying Pigskin. It's Steeler Day, and we want to know in 3 words what you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Can you describe the Pittsburgh Steelers in 3 words?
Suck, dirty.
Yes.
Good.
Piece of That's right.
No means no.
3 words from Pittsburgh. Damn Pittsburgh. We got that one. I can't put that on TV though.
Sucks. Mad.
Oh! You describe the Pittsburgh Steelers in 3 words.
Piece of. Small penis brigade.
Oh! 3 words. Describe the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Garbage. I only need 1.
Oh!
They suck.
Describe the Pittsburgh Steelers in 3 words.
Crybaby. Clorox Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh! Pittsburgh Steelers in 3 words.
I don't like Pittsburgh.
All right. You describe to me the Pittsburgh Steelers in 3 words. Are we allowed to say that on TV? Describe the Pittsburgh Steelers in 3 words.
Most horrible team ever.
Describe to me the Pittsburgh Steelers in 3 words.
The Steelers.
The Steelers. The Steelers.
The Steelers! What? Say it! Yeah! What?
The Steelers.
Yes! Yes, that's... All right, bring it.
You started a riot.
Yeah, that was
started a flat-out riot.
so much fun. The energy, the aura around tailgating yesterday was amazing.
If by my count, 2 people didn't cuss. Is that accurate?
Maybe.
I saw a lot of little flying pigskins on that.
Yeah. People, I gotta tell
Visual
you, the energy,
bleeps.
It was amazing. Like I just felt this aura of the Steelers should not be here. And
those poor fans. How did they treat it? How did they react to it?
It was so funny because there's this one Steeler guy. He was like caught in the middle. He was like walking by with his little beverage, and he stopped right in the middle, and everyone's F the Steelers, and he's right in the middle, like, am I gonna get stomped to the ground here? So it was.
And then as the game went on, they're the only ones left.
Yeah.
In the stadium.
There weren't
it was amazing to the
There weren't as
fourth,
many as there sometimes are. That was my. What did you think, Mike?
Think?
I see a lot more. There are sometimes I think maybe it was when the Bengals were just really bad all the time, but it would be like it was a home game for the Steelers. It was noticeable, but it wasn't like it sometimes is.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Satin, do you think that the Steelers would be the Bengals' biggest rival at this point?
Yeah, I think there's no doubt until this Sunday. So
until
this Sunday, the Browns will be the biggest.
Because the Browns, I mean, they're better than they have been in recent years, so there probably will be some Browns fans.
That's not really saying much.
Well, I know, but there will be Browns fans in this area who want to
come down for the game.
Yeah.
Who will finally come out of their hiding.
Brown fans, I think, are maybe the most loyal fans in almost any sport. Maybe other than maybe some colleges, and people are sort of a little more maniacal that way. But
they're the only ones
professional team fans, they're the ones I think that are most loyal. That any, I mean,
Cubs maybe.
I'd say Cubs.
Yeah.
I'd say
okay,
Cubs.
the ones that I have to deal with. Yeah.
By loyal, do you mean still rooting for a team when they're awful?
They don't care. If you go up there, they're terrible for years and years and years, and they just show up and they love their team.
Yeah, you never hear about problems selling out.
That's true.
I mean,
but it's not even about the sport anymore. It's just about partying. It's like their night out or whatever.
Well, you got to respect them for that.
I'm just worried about the Brownies have a better defense than the Steelers, and I think they're going to throw Manziel in the mix. Our defense right now, I don't understand it.
Where's
Vontez?
I don't get it. What's his deal? Where's Vontez? Is he coming back?
MIA right now.
He's got that knee injury.
It's supposed to be 2 weeks.
2 weeks from when?
From 8 weeks ago.
From the surgery.
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
I say Vontez gets back by the Steelers game. Bengals win that one.
Last game of the season.
Yeah, and they go to the playoffs.
I would take that. Let's take it. Yeah.
Take what we can get. There he is.
Yeah.
There's Vontez. He looks better in pads.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks good there with the necklace, but
that's strong.
I like him when he's playing.
But I tend to think though if Manziel gets in there, I don't know, maybe I'm making this up. I just feel like, again, not a smart man. That's a smart man's position.
Yeah.
And I just,
right.
Listen, Johnny Football, Johnny Clipboard right now, and I believe that there's something to be said for that. I think you got to have a little bit upstaiers.
I still want Hoyer to play though.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
So
the Bengals defense wants Hoyer to play, I think.
And Hoyer will probably, well, I shouldn't say probably. Maybe he'll start. He might get pulled. You know,
well, he didn't yesterday. Good. That's what was weird. I thought that he didn't.
But the clock's ticking. Unless they win. I mean, if they start losing to the Bengals, then I think.
Yeah, let me see. The Browns.
If they lose to the Bengals, I think they'll feel like it's over. And if they get into that second half and they are losing, hopefully, I think they'll be ready to do anything.
They're Browns play the Bengals, obviously. Then they play at Carolina, at Baltimore. So I mean, if they think they can beat the Bengals, they could beat the Panthers and Ravens. That would be tough for them. But
it seems like we have the tougher road than everybody. It seems like.
Yeah,
right.
It is true. The Bengals play at Cleveland, then the Broncos, and at the Steelers. The Steelers play at Atlanta, which Atlanta will be in first place tonight. They're in first place right now. They'll be in first place even if they lose. So that's good for the Bengals. You want the Falcons to be in it. Then they play the Chiefs, and then the Bengals again. So not an easy road for them. Yeah. But the Ravens have the easiest road. But you know, who's worried about that?
That last game is going to be huge.
That's true.
I hope they don't flex it. What if they move it to Sunday night?
They could. I've looked into that. They do still reserve the right to move a game, and they haven't done it yet.
No, please don't.
The Bengals and Steelers will be flexed.
Well, they still have them, but they pick them about 2 weeks in advance. And I was looking online, and they still are going to pick a last day of the year
I hope
night
that there's a really good game that weekend that will.
Well,
I hope they move to London.
Ours could be for the division title, but we'll see.
I hope they don't move our game. Because that's a guaranteed loss there. Move it to Sunday night.
They got to get over. I mean, if you're just going to say that, then just forget it, because they're going to have to
get
over it.
It's true. I was
they're not
going
to win the big games eventually and get to the point, you know, what are you going to do?
I was thinking about that. Am I still on?
The law of averages, though, you got to win sometime, right? Right. I mean, you keep playing those night games. At one point, we got to pull one of these out.
The odds of that being the Steelers, the last game of the season,
right?
This much.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Catherine, it was a pleasure.
Thank you,
Mr.
Bryce.
Appreciate it.
I love the video. I was happy to be part of the show.
I love the ugly Bengal sweater.
Absolutely.
All right, it's not really that ugly.
Good job, Bryce.
Ugly,
and thank you.
Good job, Bryce, and good luck to you, Bryce, on Thursday.
I'm going to have a little Bengal baby.
Do you understand what we have done here on the Flying Pigskin?
Very nice.
PJ got married. Bryce is having a baby. It's milestones all around. You know what that means? The Bengals are going to win a night game. It's another milestone. It's happening.
Mr. Satton's going to get engaged to somebody at a tailgate party.
Uh-oh, get out of here.
But it's not about the baby. But, yeah, I do need to go.
And thanks to Furniture Fair for these lovely
Furniture Fair, thank you. And also, BRG Apartments, our sponsor, and Furniture Fair.
We'll see you next week.
Beat the Browns.
Beat the Browns.